Hi friends, this is Josh from musiclikeyoummeanit.com. Welcome to the next installation in the From Start to Finish Metalcore series. Today I'm going to talk about how I used a kick sample to support the live kick track in this mix. To start with, I want to explain why I would reach for a kick sample in a song like this. The two main reasons for me are consistency and tone. If the live drum track has a lot of dynamic range in it and I'm not able to rein that in with a compressor, sometimes that can mean the kick does not sit as solidly in the mix as I need. Since a kick sample can have a narrower dynamic range and sound more consistent from one hit to the next, it can be a great option for solving this problem. The other time I would reach for a sample is when there's an area of my kick sound that I feel like is lacking. Sometimes due to the way that a kick is recorded, there's maybe not enough top end or low end, or maybe it's too scooped and I'm missing some mid-range. Having a good kick sample can help me fill in those areas so the kick sits better in the mix and gives me the energy that I'm looking for. In this mix, I had a lot of low end in the kick drum already, but I felt like the attack of the kick track was a little one-dimensional. I wanted a little more high mids, so I carved up this sample to help support the kick-in track in the mix. Let me first show you how I've processed the sample itself, and then I'll show you how much of it I'm using in the mix. To give away my secret sauce here, this track is the Steven Slate Kick 4 Z3 sample. It's a multi-sample printed based on my kick-in track, and I actually printed this track before applying any compression to the kick-in. The reason why I did that was that I was trying to retain some of the dynamics of the original performance. Later in the mix, however, I found that I was losing too much of the kick during the faster sections, so I ended up applying drum leveler to my kick sample with the same compression settings that the kick-in track has. This means that the track is boosted in volume in generally the same areas as the kick-in, which helps the two sit more cohesively together in the mix. So the first plugin on this chain is the drum leveler, and I don't have any gate set, just the compressor here. The only other plugin I have on this track is an EQ, which is where I'm carving out the frequencies I want to use from the kick sample. The reason why I often reach for this specific sample is I feel like it has a lot of frequency content across the entire frequency spectrum. That means I can use this to fill in basically anywhere I need in a live kick track. It also means I can carve it up to sit as the only kick in a mix if for some reason I don't have a live kick to work with. Let me show you what the sample sounds like before and after this EQ. I think the biggest difference this is making is the mid-range cut here around 400 Hz. If you remember from my previous video, I'm also cutting some of this frequency range in my live kick track as well. In both tracks, I felt like this was not contributing a lot to the mix overall, and it was affecting how much space I had left for the other low frequency instruments. The other big moves on this track are the mid-range and high frequency boosts here at 2.5K and 11K respectively. I made these moves in the context of the mix, and at the time I wasn't really doing this calculation, but you'll notice that since my live kick has a lot of attack around 4K, these two moves are helping fill out the kick attack in the high and high mid frequencies here. Let me play the sample along with the live kick, and I'll turn these bands on and off so that you can hear what they're doing. So it's a little bit subtle, but hopefully you can hear that this top end band is helping get me just a little bit more presence on the kick. Even with all the gates on the live kick, I don't have a lot of usable sound this high in the frequency range to boost there. The boost at 2.5K here is also really helping support the kick attack, because the Beta 52 microphone used on the kick-in track just doesn't have a lot of good sound in this range. Now what you might have noticed when I was playing this back is that there's actually not a lot of kick sample in this final kick sound. I'm going to play the whole track and then toggle on and off the mutes for the kick in track and the kick sample so that you can hear how much of each I'm using in the final mix. So I'm definitely getting a lot of the low end and the high end click from that kick in mic. And then when I turn that off, most of what you can hear from the kick sample is that mid-range peak that's helping fill out the attack. So this mix had a really good kick performance, and I was able to get a lot of usable tones out of that track. My goal with the kick sample here then is to not undo any of that great sound and to just support it in a way that sounds natural but helps the kick sit just a little bit better in the mix. So that's the kick sample I'm using here, and my question for you today is about samples. Comment below and let me know if you've either had a great experience or a terrible experience using kick samples in a mix. Or maybe you've heard a mix that either used a sample really well or overused a sample in a way that was unpleasant to listen to. I'll try and respond to as many comments as I can, and I'm excited to hear what your experiences have been. Finally, if you're looking to make better music, whether you're a musician in a band, a music producer, a sound engineer, or just a fan of music in this genre, I would definitely recommend checking out my free mini workshop, which is available at musiclikeyoummeanit.com/workshop. It covers 12 of the most important decisions you have to make when you're creating great music. The best part is these 12 tips can apply no matter what your skill level is. Thanks for hanging out with me today and watching how I use the kick sample in this mix. If you're interested in hearing how I mix the rest of this track, make sure to check out the other videos in this series as well. That's all I have for you today. Keep making great music, and I'll see you all next time.